The NCAA Tournament is the pinnacle of the college basketball season where every team fights for their chance to win a national championship. However, since the release of NCAA Basketball 10 before the 2009-2010 season, within the Power 6 conferences, there have only been 3 teams to not make the NCAA Tournament. Those teams being DePaul, Boston College, and Washington State. However, of these 3 schools, only one of them has never made the Final Four in its history, that being Boston College. Yes, a former Big East school, now turned ACC, has never made to the Final Four, so today we are going to go to NCAA Basketball 10 and rewrite the history of Boston College. Starting 2009-2010 season, we are going to go through season by season to try and reshape their history. Or at least the past 13 years of their history. So, before we get into the video, please do leave a like if you do enjoy the video. It really helps out the channel a lot. Also, subscribe if you are new. Got a lot of good videos coming out soon here. I know I don't post as consistently as I'd like, but got a lot of stuff in the chamber ready for you for the month of March. So exciting times, and let's get into the video. So going into this season, this is the roster that we're rocking with. It's not very good, as you can tell. Joe Trapani is our highest overall player in the starting lineup. Corey Raji and Sanders as well will be very, very vital in terms of being able to spread the floor a little bit. Maybe not Raji, but also Reggie Jackson will be our starting point guard. We do have some other players that will be helpful off the bench. As we take a look at our schedule, as you can tell, there's not many cupcakes. I came into the season like, hey, let's try to play some teams and see what we can do with it. So, Colorado was our first matchup of the season, and the college basketball season of 2009-2010 was officially underway. We started off great. We actually get a big win over Colorado to start. However, in the very next matchup, Michigan decided to just blow us out by nearly 40. So, that wasn't exactly the rebound we're looking for, as we lose 102-58. And we were in mixed spot in this. I didn't really know what we were working with. We went to the next game against Nebraska, and we actually blew them out by 20. So that was a great rebound game where we kind of proved ourselves, okay, we're still good. Michigan might just be top tier. Then we go into Notre Dame, end up losing by 14, where we gave up 59 points in the second half. So a disastrous start. So 2-2. We go into this game against TCU, a close, hard-fought matchup. They end up tying the game, and then with a minute left, we just couldn't find a way to get a stop. The defense was really lacking. They got a bucket. And then Reggie Jackson this time finding Trapani. No, he pump fakes to Sanders, and Sanders would miss a 3. Our best three-point shooter couldn't get it done. And then they would end up turning it over on a bad alley-oop. We'd have one more chance. Raji, a good look, but it would not go. And we would end up falling to TCU and fall to 2-3 on the season. So not quite the start we were looking for. Our next game was against UNLV in the Old Spice Classic, and we had a 3-point lead going into the final minute of this game. However, a turnover, and then they would go right down and answer back with a bucket of their own. In a 1-point game, then we end up turning it over because this game could be stupid at times. They threw it out of bounds. And this time a block, but they would get the own board, and they would lay it up back and in. So now we're down by 1. We're going to go to Trapani, our best player on the floor, and he would bank it in and give us the lead. Reggie Jackson a chance to seal it, but I missed the free throw and couldn't get it to go. 1.9 seconds left, a full court heave, and we would end up losing because they hit a full court shot. What the hell was that? I can't believe that just happened. What the hell? So we ended up losing in the first round because of a full court buzzer beater, which is just stupid. And then we go and play Kent State, and we actually end up playing pretty well and blowing them out in the process. Then we go on to face Siena. And this Siena team, I did not know what to expect, and they ended up beating us pretty bad as well, winning by 16, and hey, good for them. Then we go on to play BYU as we're just back to regular non-conference play, and yeah, more of the same. We end up getting destroyed. Then we go and play Iowa. A lot of Big Ten games on the schedule in this round of play, and then they were, again, just a little bit too good for us, and we weren't able to match them in any way, shape, or form, losing by 14. So not the greatest start that we were hoping for. Then we go on and beat McNeese State. So one cupcake game, hopefully to schedule a little more. Another Big Ten opponent. We're going up against Minnesota in this one. Up by 7 late in this game, getting the steal and able to seal the win. It was a nice, easy win, and we were able to kind of rebound before the season comes to a screeching halt here. Portland State getting another win, so that's 3 in a row for Boston College until we face Siena a second time and end up losing by 30. So Just as everything's starting to look good, it goes bad. At this point, non-conference play is over. Trapani's our leading scorer. Raji and Sanders are right there as well. Reggie Jackson's averaging 8 assists a game, and he's actually shooting really well from 3. So we have some players that are actually making some good plays. At this moment for the end, you see Greg Monroe's one of the best players in the country. He actually would win the award, but of course, this means nothing as we go at 6-8 into conference play in the ACC, and this is where the gauntlet begins. So, coming in at 6-8, we have a lot of opportunity to try to get to the NCAA tournament here. We start off against Florida State, and Florida State was a really good team that just kind of overpowered us in every way, shape, or form, and we ended up losing by 17 to start. However, in our next game against number 25 Maryland, we were actually able to only lose by 51. So, great 0-2 start. ACC plays looking exactly like we thought. Then we actually get a bounce back win against NC State on the road at NC State in shocking fashion. Then we go and play number 19 Clemson. We're up by 3 late, but again, the missed free throw, and they would have another chance. Oh God, another full court shot. This time it would not go, and we would actually get the win. So we actually even it up 2-2 in ACC play. A lot of potential here. Now we go on to face a very, very good Wake Forest team led by Al-Farouq Aminu. So, this Wake Forest team, we were down by 8. This was our best game of the season without a doubt. This time, the steal, Trapani into the hands of Sanders. He would go all the way and lay it up and in to cut it to 6. Then with 50 seconds left, it's Reggie Jackson left wide open from the mid-range. He would get it. It's a 4-point game. Then all the way, this time the block, but Raji's right there to finish and make it a 2-point game. Now, again, it's Jackson, the 3, no, but it's Raji again. He would put it back up and in, and we're tied. This time with 15 seconds left. Wake, they need something, and they would get it, just answering in time. 7 seconds to go. Reggie Jackson this time, step back 3. He would get it to go with 3.3 seconds left. We just got to make sure they don't hit a full court buzzer beater again. This time the shot, no, it's a pass, a shot, and it goes. Unbelievable. We lose again in the most ridiculous way possible. We just can't find a way to win these games late. Oh, and so now we have to go and rebound against number 19 Clemson. And when you're going into a team after an emotional loss, you're not going to play that well. And we end up losing to Clemson. We fought hard, but not hard enough. And it's another loss for the Golden Eagles. And we are on a skid, especially going into the Duke game. Now we got to go face Duke, who is Kyle Singler, who is the best player in the country. And this Duke team definitely lived up to the hype. 76, we only scored 39 total points. So we are for a world of hurt for the rest of this ACC season if we don't find a way to pick it up. As we look at this moment here, we are 2-5 at this point, and not looking too hot to say the least. But hey, it's ACC, anything can happen, a lot of good teams. But things would not really turn quickly as we'd get blown up by Wake Forest, followed out by a blowout against Florida State. And then followed up again by a loss to Miami at home, a team that actually was beatable. And then we go face Maryland again, and again get blown out very handily. Then we have a game against Virginia Tech, a game that actually has a little bit of excitement, and this team actually gets up for. We might not have the best team in the country. We might not have a team that's going to fight hard into the NCAA tournament. We might not have the talent, but what we do have is a little bit of heart to upset some teams along the way. So, we end up taking a 2-point lead against Virginia Tech. They would try to answer back, and they would not until the offensive rebound where they would and retake a 1-point lead. Then we had a chance. It was Raji wide open for 3 and would not get it to go, and we would end up losing. So, a hard-fought effort, but just couldn't quite pull it out in the end. So, we are on a serious skid. We have lost all momentum of anything we've had. We can't seem to even stay close in a game. And then we have to go face North Carolina. And North Carolina actually was one of the most fun places to go and play at because we played really well. It was a 3-point game. Raji hits this ridiculous fadeaway to cut it to 1. And then free throws for North Carolina. The 1-on-1 doesn't go, but they get the offensive board and tip it in to make it 3. And then with 4 seconds, Reggie Jackson pulls from 3 and couldn't get it to go. And we would end up losing again in heartbreaking fashion. Then we go to face Georgia Tech, who has Derek Favors and Iman Shumpert, and they end up blowing us out by 41 points. We then face NC State again, who blows us out by 20, and the ACC is looking really bad for us. Then we get to finish it off against Virginia. This Virginia team, who I actually thought we had a chance to go in and beat. Sanders here hitting the three. We had a 3-point lead, but quickly they would answer with 3 of their own, and they would take a big lead. They wouldn't miss a shot, and we really didn't stand a chance down the stretch. And Virginia would end our season at 8-22, as we would go on to lose every single game down the stretch, losing 12 in a row, finishing at 2-14 in the ACC, the worst team by far. Not only that, we were so bad, we didn't even qualify for the ACC tournament. So we had a terrible, terrible season, but there's always next year, right? So there's always a chance to rebound. We picked this team for a reason because we want to reshape their history, and at this point, we are not doing a good job of it, but we have plenty of room to grow as we look at some of the players that we still have, all of them coming back for another season, except for this guy. I don't really care for him at all, and that's okay, because none of these guys are really as worth it. We're going to get into some recruiting as well after we go through some of the other things that have happened around the country. But some good players that showed out. I mean, Southern averaged 12.2 rebounds a game as a 69 overall center. So that's pretty good. Reggie Jackson averaged 8 assists. And then we had 3 guys in double-digit scoring. Greg Monroe ended up winning our National Player of the Year, edging out some pretty common college basketball names, but as I said, we did not qualify for the ACC tournament as we were so bad. And going into the NCAA tournament, it would go exactly, or not the NCAA tournament, the ACC tournament, it would go exactly as you would expect. Every team that was there was just as good, but at the end, it's Duke and North Carolina in the ACC, and Duke would end up winning the conference. So good for Duke, Kyle Singler, and all of them. As we look as this NCAA tournament is ready to get underway, you can see who the top seeds are. You can see who is available within each region. The ACC, this actually is good for us, was actually the best conference in terms of players and teams getting into the NCAA tournament. So that's a really good sign for us. It just goes to show that we play in a tough conference. It also does go to show that we're going to have to really step it up in order to try and not even just make the NCAA tournament, make the ACC tournament next year is just the goal, which is a pretty sad goal, but hey, one step at a time. Texas ended up making it to the Final Four. Duke made it to the Final Four. Nova made it to the Final Four. And then finally, Kansas ended up making it to the Final Four. So Nova, Kansas would end up playing, and then Texas and Duke. Nova, and I didn't know that they were this good at this point in the season. I know Texas has players like Avery Bradley, along those lines. So, and the Villanova ended up beating Kansas pretty handily, and then Texas ended up beating Duke. That Duke team, who was by far the best team in the ACC, I couldn't imagine playing either Texas or Villanova, as Villanova is your national champion. So, good for Villanova. They got it a few years earlier than they did in real life to end that little drought that they had since the 80s, and they get the national championship in the 2010 NCAA tournament. And we can finally put this season to rest. Never have to look at it again. It's in the rear view mirror. And now it's time for the exciting part, a little bit of recruiting. So during the season, we ended up getting a really good shooting guard, the number 37 overall player in the country in Malcolm Norton. We also got a solid point guard in Quasi Winston, and then some other 3 stars that were more just fillers in case we didn't get these other guys. Going into off-season recruiting, we really needed a center. So what I noticed, I don't want 3 shooting guards, all freshmen, especially if one of them is going to be the only one that really plays. So I signed the 3-star guy, but of course the other 2 4-stars, they better be coming. We have 1 guy transferring and then 1 guy who is graduating. But as we look, we do have 3 scholarships available. So when I was going through this, the thought was I just really want to make sure that these guys are a good fit. When I'm going in and making my team, I want to make sure that everyone is a capable scorer. Because in this game, if you're not a capable scorer, you're really not that valuable. Rebounding, of course, is extremely important, and all big guys in this game tend to be decent at it. A few 3-stars, a 4-star, and we would be okay. Hopefully these guys would be able to develop into a little bit better than that, but we really couldn't get that much because, you know, it's Boston College. We're not exactly Duke here. So all of these guys I would go through and make sure we got exactly what we were looking for out of them, and they were, and we signed all 3 of them. They're all 3 stars, but it's fine. just having more players to develop is always good, and you can always cut them in order to make more room for scholarships. So these are the top players in the country. I was initially thinking, should I just replace the guys who are the best players in the country with the real recruiting classes? But then I figured, since in this game a lot of players don't commit, that would just be weird and not work really. So what we're going to do is any recruit that is coming in for this next season, they are just going to be on the team. So for example, in this next year, Harrison Barnes and Kyrie Irving are going into the ACC at North Carolina and Duke. So they are going to be on the teams next year. And that is going to be making it even harder for us, but it'll be a lot more fun to actually follow the history of college basketball. And some of these players will stay a lot longer than they usually do. Kyrie will probably be there for 3 years, which will be interesting and just make Duke even more of a superpower. So we go into next season, we're actually at an A- overall rating because our starters are an A because all of these players got so much better. And we have some actual good players coming into the program as well. Norton, I'm so excited to have him. He is going to be a star of this team. He's a true freshman. He's going to be the starting shooting guard. MrCaliSports is going to be our starting point guard. He was sitting on the bench, and now I've decided I'm going to put him in over Reggie Jackson, and then I move Sanders down to the small forward, so that way we can still have that same unit, and then Trapani and Southern are still going to be our two big guys going into the next season as well. So we have a much better roster. I think we have a much better chance to actually have a chance at competing next year. We do get invited to another tip-off tournament, so of course I'm going to accept it, and we're going to be doing that as well. Our schedule, as I said, we're going to have a lot more cupcakes this year. So we're going to start off a little bit hard, but we have a lot more games against some, lesser tier opponents because as we got into ACC play, we have plenty of tough games along the way. So why make it harder on ourselves? Let's just go in and have a good season next season, and let's go make the NCAA tournament. So I hope you guys did enjoy this first video. Please do leave a like if you did enjoy, subscribe if you are new, and of course, please do check out any of my other videos related to NCAA Basketball 10 or to College Hoops 2K. Got plenty of more stuff coming out for you. So thank you so much for watching this video, and have a great rest of your day.